We in America are immigrants, or the children of immigrants. We are one people, but a people welded from many nations and races. People who came to America during a vast migration from Europe to other parts of the world. In this migration, millions of Europeans left their homelands to settle in new countries across the seas. Almost 2/3 of them came to the United States. A century of immigration has brought in many people from Canada, and more recently, there has been a lively migration from Mexico, as well as from the Caribbean area.
Well, my name is Kimberly Baker Medina, and I'm an immigration attorney. I practice immigration law. And I also work in the community with immigrants and immigrant families, volunteer with a group called Fuerza Latina that we formed about 6 years ago. And that's what I do. I mostly do family-based immigration, asylum, immigration for Central Americans, and I do deportation defense.
My name is Ismael Cervantes. I am an immigrant from Mexico. I came to the U.S. when I was 12 years old. I had visited before with family members in California. The last time that we came in, the officer unfortunately did not stamp my passport. And I never thought that that was a big problem until I tried to become legal. To me, I always thought of me as regular immigrant, legal by all means. I mean, I thought I had all the paperwork necessary, but to the government, because I don't have a stamp, I'm not legal.
Young people who have been here since they were babies were carried across the border in their mother's arms. They go to kindergarten here, they go to high school here, they graduate with honors, and then what? They have to use a fake social security number. They have to drive without a license. So we're actually sort of criminalizing a whole class of people who otherwise would not be criminals.
Really, it started to happen once I was growing up around high school, somewhere around the 10th grade. When I started to look into scholarships or possibly going to college, I found that a lot of them required social security numbers. There was no way I could attend. It doesn't matter what my grades were or nothing. I mean, it was always as if I was a foreign student. That's the only way I could go to college. And that's a lot more than we could afford. And I really found out when I got married. I got married at a young age, 18. At first I thought that it would be not a problem. You know, I was married to a citizen, and I shouldn't have any problems fixing my paperwork. You know, somebody would hear me, but right after the interview with the immigration representative, I found that it's actually a big problem and that people in my situation have been deported.
So they're living with no alternative. And then, so they come in to see me and they say, okay, I'm a U.S. citizen, my children are U.S. citizens. I want to apply to legally get residency for my spouse. And I have to tell them, you can't. Or, you can, but your spouse is going to be out of the country for 10 years. Or maybe he'll get back in, you know, maybe he'll qualify for some sort of a hardship waiver and we can get him back in. But I can't promise you. No one can promise you he'll get back in, and as soon as you start this process, you're taking the chance that you're going to be without your spouse, or you're going to be without your father for the next 10 years. What kind of alternatives does that offer to people?
I think I've learned to be very patient and also to teach others. I do believe that a big part of the problem is that people don't know what the problem is. People don't really know, don't think there's a problem. They say, you know, if you can't get it, well, that's too bad. But once I tell them, like, you know, this is what's happening to me, do you think it's fair? Well, no, I don't think what's happening to you is fair, but I think what's happening to other people is fair. I really think a big part of it is educating people on what the current laws are.
There's been a shift in priorities where it used to be that the U.S. government would prioritize, well, let's get the bad guys first. So let's get the terrorists, and let's get the aggravated felons, and let's get the drug dealers. We don't have those priorities anymore, and if you ask the Immigrations and Custom Patrol who picks people up, they will basically tell you, and they've told me before, we'll take who we come into contact with. And as a result, we have a system that's just busting at the seams, this sort of deportation processing machine. The detention center people don't fit there. The number of arrests far exceed the capacity of that center, and so it's really a system that's kind of at the breaking point, and we're using this system as a substitute for good immigration policy and for effective immigration reform.
There's something in going through Congress and the House that's called the DREAM Act. It's gone around a couple of times. If that was to change, I would have a path, since that would allow any child who was brought by their parents to find a road towards residency by going to school and meeting certain requirements, but in the end it would get you towards being a permanent resident. So something like that would really benefit my situation.
Human beings migrate. That's a natural thing about human beings. And borders are not natural. Migration is natural. And being with family is very natural. And family ties are stronger than whatever kind of political border you want to construe. So if you have family on one side and family on the other side, they're going to find a way to be together.
So I do believe at some point we will have to do something. We can't ignore, I mean, the many children or people who are in my case. I'm not the only one. So I believe, and I have the hope that one day we will see an end to it and hopefully find a path towards becoming legal. And hopefully I'll be here by the time that's in.